allegedly taken to the guard room, raped and blackmailed with the video of the ordeal. The accused threatened to circulate it online, even beat the survivor with hockey sticks. Can you imagine, viewers? The case has triggered political tremors. BJP claims that one accused, Monojit Mishra, is linked to the TMC. Yes, viewers, he was for a time part of the TMC, then he left, but he remains quite influential. And that's one of the reasons why the Trinamool Congress has extended some sort of a technical defense, saying that he's no longer with us, and has hit back, accusing the BJP of playing politics over the incident and even stalling the Bengal government's attempts to pass strict anti-rape laws. Amid the war of words, as the state faces growing outrage over repeated campus crimes, TMC's Kalyan Banerjee has made a shocking statement, viewers. He says if friends turn into rapists, there's little that the state can do. So he's already trying, viewers, to character assassinate the victim. Not only that, he has put the onus on women, saying that they should fight men off. And thirdly, viewers, rather disturbingly, he has offered moral advice to women, saying that they shouldn't go to visit men at all. Listen to this.
এই সমস্ত ক্রিমিনালিটি, রেপ, মলেস্টেশন এটা কারা করে? যারা এই পারভার্টেড টাইপের পুরুষ, তাদের বিরুদ্ধে লড়াই করা উচিত। নিরাপত্তা সবই রয়েছে, কিন্তু একজন বন্ধু যদি বান্ধবীকে রেপ করে তাহলে সেখানে নিরাপত্তা কি করে দেবে বলুন তো আমাকে? কলেজের ভেতরে যদি করে সেখানে পুলিশ থাকবে কলেজে? নিরাপত্তা কাকে দেবে? নিরাপত্তা তো তার সহকর্মীরা দেবে। সেখানে সহকর্মীরাই রেপ করছে, তাহলে অন্যায়টা কারা করছে?
Viewers, moral equivocation of this kind is not something new to the TMC. The TMC's senior-most leaders, in fact, Mamata Banerjee once tried to also character assassinate the victim, and that was the Park Street rape case. It goes all the way back to about 10 years now, viewers. But the situation is obviously very, very strained on the ground because there have been protests, and there are, of course, a large number of people who are demanding answers and accountability. The BJP says the TMC only protects predators. Listen to this, viewers.
जब तक ममता बनर्जी रहेगी राज्य में एज ए मुख्यमंत्री और तृणमूल कांग्रेस पावर में रहेगी, तब तक होता ही रहेगा ऐसे एक के बाद एक रेप की घटना। क्योंकि आरजीकर की घटना घटी, सारे घटनाओं में आप देखेंगे कि ममता बनर्जी ने हमेशा और उनकी सरकार ने कोशिश की है कि रेप की घटना को दबाने के लिए। तो दबाने का काम जब तक एक एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव हेड करता रहेगा आपकी स्टेट में, तो उस स्टेट में एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन क्या रहेगा? या एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन का डर, जो गुंडा है, जो बदमाश है, जो रेपिस्ट है, उनके दिमाग में है ही नहीं डर। क्योंकि जानते हैं ममता बनर्जी उनकी पार्टी है बचाने के लिए। 3-4 लोगों को जो एक्यूज है पकड़ा गया, सारे तृणमूल से रिलेटेड है। तो तृणमूल तो मतलब खून, रेप, चोरी, इन तीनों में एक्सपर्ट है। इस पुलिस से कुछ नहीं होने वाला है।
Viewers, the AG Corps case had created a crisis of credibility for Mamata Banerjee, and this is only going to exacerbate her problems and bring the focus on her ability to control law and order. Remember, she remains the person in charge of law and order in the state. So all of this, in fact, leads straight back to her office. We'll, of course, be across that story. We'll be bringing you updates and ensuring accountability, but we need to move on, viewers. There has been a rather dramatic announcement that has come from the US Embassy, and I want to focus on that because it affects a large number of Indians. Viewers, the US Embassy in India has issued a strong warning to visa applicants about the importance of providing complete and accurate social media details on their applications. In fact, they're supposed to disclose every social media app they're on for the last 5 years when they submit an application for the visa. The US Embassy says visa applicants are required to list all social media usernames or handles of every platform they have used in the last 5 years. All individuals applying for a F, M or J non-immigrant visa are requested to adjust the privacy settings on all of their social media accounts to public to facilitate the vetting necessary to establish their identity and admissibility to the United States under US law. This is what has been mandated. India has responded to the announcement with some concern. The MEA, in its first statement, the Ministry of External Affairs, in its first statement, via, of course, the spokesperson, has said, it is our belief that all visa applications of Indian nationals should be treated on the basis of merit. We remain engaged with the US side on all mobility and consular issues to ensure that the legitimate interests of Indian nationals are safeguarded. Viewers, the new eligibility requirements pose some big questions. How does a country that has taken to lecturing the world on democratic freedoms justify prying into the private digital lives of Indian students, viewers? How does this not amount to thought policing and ideological profiling? And is this about vetting or conditioning foreigners to align with Washington's political expectations? Last but not least, viewers, why has the directive only been announced for India? Isn't this selective profiling, and should India also therefore announce a similar policy, reciprocate? Who wants, after all, viewers, if one were to extend the American example, to allow this to be a punitive measure applying only to one side in a so-called equal relationship? So these are some fundamental questions, and we need to ask these questions tonight. David Sofe of the Republican Party is here with us. Sushant Sareen, Senior Fellow of the ORF, is here with us. Michael Owens, current Mayor of Mableton, who's a Democrat, is here with us. So let me ask the Republican on the panel first, because I don't know if you speak for the Trump administration, sir, or you empathize with their point of view, but this is a question that would perhaps be asked of most Americans, irrespective of the stripe they wear on their epaulette. And the question is, how does a country that sets the global standards for freedom, democracy, free speech, and all that jazz, lecture the world on democratic freedoms, justifying prying into private digital lives of Indian students? How do you square this?
Thank you very much for having me. And when we get to this is a very important thing, because this is an issue of public safety. So for all of our friends in India, which is the largest democracy in the world, this is a thing that makes them more safe. So for all the students and immigrants that are going to join the United States, this is a public safety screening. Now, in recent years, our country has been under attack with all sorts of various crimes and wars, etc. So this is a good thing that keeps America safe. So the vast majority of people will pass this. But this is another thing to make America safe again and to clean up our historic problem that the Democrats have quasi-created by making an open border, by allowing all of these atrocities to happen, to allowing public discourse to get out so out of hand. So if you go and apply for a job, the first thing they do is they screen your social media, right? And if you're not in line with the things that with what you do there, which there's a big difference between freedom of speech and crimes, okay? So that can happen. So here we are actively scanning for crimes, including hate crimes. So this is a good thing. Other countries and other democracies do a similar sort of thing. So now we put it into law, and that's going to embolden not only the immigration administration in a safe way, but it is another step in making America safe again and making American cities and college campuses safe again. Not just for Americans, but for every single immigrant.
Obviously, I don't want to get into the internal politics of America, the Republican versus the Democrat thing, but the mayor will respond for himself. I just want to point out a couple of things you've confused. You've confused two issues. You've confused private enterprise with state. You've confused crimes. Look, When you apply for a visa from anywhere in the world to go to the United States, they ask you on that form to declare whether you've had any criminal cases.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's a very different thing from what this is. That
Sure,
is,
so this is
that
an
happens.
extra level of screening.
So one
this
second.
is an extra level of screening.
Okay, hang on, let me
this
finish.
This is an extra level of screening.
Okay.
This is an extra level of screening.
Okay.
Which
Just
should
give
be
me,
a positive thing.
give me
which
30
should be
seconds. Give me 30 seconds. Hear me out. I'm not here to crucify anyone. I'm just here to put a point across, okay? So, bear with me. There's also a degree of arbitrariness. Who decides what is a favorable opinion? If tomorrow America intercedes in a manner that destabilizes the region where I live in, South Asia, and many people say that the Biden administration, for example, has facilitated regime change in Bangladesh and it affects people, Hindus in Bangladesh. I'm a Hindu, by the way. And Hindu lives are in danger, and I blame the United States for that crisis. You could easily turn around and say that this is anti-American and you can't come in. So you're stifling free speech. You're stifling what could be bona fide criticism of America. And the world is free to judge. I'm not a terrorist if I say that, unless American laws have now bent to the will of Mr. Trump so much that anyone who holds an opinion contrary to the Washington view as expressed by Trump is a terrorist or is an incendiary or somebody who needs to be denied access to America. That's bizarre.
So what they're doing is they are protecting American, we have to keep it safe. So without these sort of checks and balances, and what you're saying, I see your point, but that's not what they're after.
How do you know? How do you know? Are you a visa officer of the law? Are you a judge? How do you know?
No. So it's all stated in the policy right there.
Okay.
That's how we know. So if you go and look at it now, if you actually read the actual document, which is 7 pages, which I did today, right? It is there to make a safeguard for people that have.
Okay, let's get the other side. Let's get the other side. It's a safeguard, extra layer of security for America. Okay, but why is it being applied, viewers? Why is it being applied? Why is it being applied only against India in the exception? There are norms, but this has been notified for India in exception. So there's another problem there. We're a democracy too. Sushant Sareen, what do you make of this before I bring in Michael?
So Rahul, look, giving a visa is every country's prerogative. Number one, they can make their own visa rules. So I can't grudge the Americans making the kind of rules they are making. But of course, I have questions about why singling out India. Now, okay, one could argue that almost 250,000 Indian students are studying in US universities. And so they need to vet all of them. But the past record of at least the last 10, maybe 15 years is that apart from a couple of them who might have, taken to supporting all kinds of lost causes of the third world, most of them go to America to make a career, to get an education and stay within themselves and haven't been part of any great law and order crisis or created any kind of, haven't been involved in criminal activity, none of the stuff. So singling out India is rather strange when your real challenge comes from, for example, the Chinese, who come and spy on you, who come and infiltrate your institutions, and who are also members of the CCP. And then they go back and, all kinds of activities take place. But you haven't singled them out. You singled out India. So, of course, I think we are entitled to ask questions. Secondly, I think there is this whole issue of certain privacy. So a lot of people might be on some of these social media handles, and not because they have a political opinion or something else, but they simply are there because kids nowadays are on social media. And many of them keep their accounts private because of problems of people morphing images, or you don't want to share certain images with other people. Now the American Big Brother wants to watch everything. I don't see how that's conscionable, and that's problematic. So there are very serious questions which arise out of taking this measure, and I can understand if this is across the board, but it isn't. And that becomes, that makes me look askance at the Americans, who at one level say that, we are the strategic partner for the 21st century, all the hyperbole that goes around India-US strategic relationship, and then you do this kind of a step and singling out India. I think it raises very, very serious questions. They haven't done this to Pakistan, where Americans are cursed day in and day out, where jihadism is preached against America, where people from very, very rich families abuse the American system, the American way of life, say all kinds of nonsense about America. They haven't been singled out. India has been singled out, maybe because Donald Trump finds Pakistanis to be their best buddies nowadays. I don't know.
Well, because he's got business interests, as you know, in Pakistan. His son's company is making millions there, so, we do know that.
Pakistanis have been involved in acts of terrorism within the US.
Yeah, well, Sushant, someone said, let's just gift him one big Airbus 320 or whatever it is, and everything will go away. He'll be very happy. Give him a Trump Tower here in Gurgaon or Noida. He'd be delighted with that.
Let's get to the point on
We have plenty of Trump Towers in Kabul.
this
should be a good bill.
That doesn't seem to have...
Yeah,
he's safe from reality.
So we should just really get on the issue.
No, but he's hopelessly transactional. Why single out India? Well, these are valid questions. Privacy, singling out India, talking about talking about taking the moral high ground on free speech, etc., etc. Look, I'm just putting out the facts. I'm putting out the facts. Let me bring in Michael Owen. Michael Owen, what's your view on this? The Republicans say the Democrats have left out a legacy, messed up legacy. We've got people who are incendiary insurgents running through our streets, doing all sorts of things because you let them in. And now we've got to do this. So don't blame us.
First of all, Rahul, thank you for allowing me to be on today. I've sat here and listened because it's the same thing that we continue to hear over and over again. First and foremost, we consider Americans' role on a global stage, and we have to look at what's happening now. We ask ourselves, are these policies truly keeping anybody safe, or is it just leading to more suspicion, making us less open, more hostile to our very allies, right? The people that we should be partners with and continue to partner with, and furthermore, targeting students and professionals that we claim to welcome sometimes, but those also the folks that we turn around and want to almost unilaterally try to single out. And this goes back to President Trump's America First attitude, right? And the policies and the framework that we see. And you ask yourselves, why is this happening, or why is this being singled out? I'm not going to sit here and try to pontificate on what exactly is going through President Trump's mind, but we can see a pattern of activity happening over and over again, where, quite frankly, we treat our allies as adversaries and our adversaries as allies in this administration. We saw it before during Trump 1.0, and we're seeing it again in Trump 2.0. And I will also say, that this is really, it's trying to be wrapped in this vein of national security, but it's not, right? It's really overreach from an administration. And, the first thing people are going to say, well, as Democrats, you're soft on security, and it's not the case here. National security is our priority. And as a Democrat, as a mayor, as an American, of course, national security is a priority. But when we go through these type of activities, we have to ask ourselves, does this make us more safe? Casting a wide policy net such as this is not targeted intelligence, right? No. It's digital phishing.
This is profiling. This is profiling. This could even be. This is ideological profiling. This could be a warped parochialism. Profiling. This is prejudice. No, one second, Mr. Sofair. The fact is, Uncle Sam's hypocrisy gets to me from time to time, viewers. The sanctimonious doffing the metaphorical hat to freedom of expression, etc., etc. Trump, viewers, and Musk, by the way, are supposed to be no holds barred freedom of expression defenders. They're free speech absolutists. And this is what they're up to. They're policing thought. They're policing thought. They don't want to hear another point of view. They want to fix you. They want to say that, look, if you don't align to the Washington view today, the consensus in Washington, the Republican ultra-MAGA consensus, we're going to kick you out. Okay, well, you know what, Sushant Sareen actually put it out there quite emphatically. He said, look, we can't stop the Americans from doing what they want to. Maybe, viewers, instead of making anodyne remarks saying that, look, we hope that the Americans treat us fairly, blah, 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 I think America should do that. India should do exactly this in reciprocation. And then let's see how people come here.
I think we encourage them to do that. It'll be a good thing.
Fix them.
It'll be a good thing. An extra layer of security.
You know what, sir?
An extra layer of security.
Sir?
I think that would be a good thing.
When people stop listening to each other, you have a dialogue of the deaf. There's a problem. The world pulls up all its shutters.
Americans have to continue to be leaders in the space by extending our arm of partnership. And this is not doing that. We stand on this mantra of being, land of the free, home of the brave, where everyone's individual freedoms are protected.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we have to do that. And we have to do that on our campuses. We've seen, and I'm sure in India and across the world.
You're not making America great again. Let me tell you.
And this has been a problem.
America is not going to be great again. America is going to become a closed authoritarian society at this rate. That only values consensus over viewers, divergence, dialogue, diversity. There's a problem here. There's a serious problem, and it's at the core of the American system right now. It's like an infection, and America is looking bad. It's really looking bad, viewers. It's really looking bad.
Because
America's looking safe again. America's looking safe again.
Okay, well, sir, America's safe again. I'll leave it at this. Viewers, you heard all sides. You've heard me. You've heard Sushant Sareen. You've heard the two foreign guests here. I'll leave it at this. We'll come right back with a very big story, viewers, which actually has a lot to do with the way we see ourselves as Indians. Don't go away.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Fresh political flashpoint is brewing in Bengal. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has lashed out at the Election Commission of India, accusing it of pushing ahead with the special intensive revision of electoral rolls without consulting political parties. Mamata alleges that common Bengalis and migrant workers are being harassed under the garb of voter verification and claims the entire process is being politically driven by BJP's campaign machinery. She says the BJP and the ECI are treating state governments as subservient and warns Bengal is being unfairly targeted. Even as Bihar, where the process is also being conducted, is being spared scrutiny. The BJP has hit back. Leader of opposition Suvendu Adhikari has accused Mamata of resorting to appeasement and corruption and claims she is now threatening a constitutional body. Adhikari has demanded action from the Election Commission over her remarks.
Sometimes they do not know where is the villager, especially the poor people, especially the hawkers, bakers, or the poor people, commoners. Where they will get the mother certificate, the father certificate? Is it NRC? Is it they are doing or working to establish the NRC? What is their intention? Please let us clarify.
Is gradually losing her ground due to her high appeasement and huge corruption. For that reason, she is now feeling fierce hypocrisy. Due to this reason, she is threatening Election Commission. Election Commission is a constitutional body. It's an autonomous body. Please take appropriate action against the statement made by a political party leader.
देखिए, चुनाव आयोग एक स्वायत्त संस्था है और उनकी तरफ से पॉलिसीज बनाई जाती है। उद्देश्य क्या होता है कि निष्पक्ष चुनाव हो, कहीं कोई कदाचार नहीं हो और कोई भी व्यक्ति अपने वोटिंग राइट से वंचित ना हो जाए। विपक्ष के साथी हमेशा फर्जी वोटों की चर्चा करते हैं, उस दिशा में अपनी चिंता व्यक्त करते हैं। चुनाव आयोग की तरफ से एक गाइडलाइन जारी की गई है जिसमें सत्यापन की बात कही गई है। होता यह है कि कोई भी नियम जब बनता है तो उसके प्रैक्टिकल क्रियान्वयन में कई बार दिक्कतें आती हैं, तो हमें लगता है कि सबको अपने सुझाव देने चाहिए और जो सबसे उचित और सबसे प्रैक्टिकल फैसला होगा वो चुनाव आयोग की तरफ से किया जाएगा।
Fresh political flashpoint is brewing in Bengal. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has lashed out at the Election Commission of India, accusing it of pushing ahead with the special intensive revision of electoral rolls without consulting political parties. Mamata alleges that common Bengalis and migrant workers are being harassed under the garb of voter verification and claims the entire process is being politically driven by BJP's campaign machinery. She says the BJP and the ECI are treating state governments as subservient and warns Bengal is being unfairly targeted. Even as Bihar, where the process is also being conducted, is being spared scrutiny. The BJP has hit back. Leader of opposition Suvendu Adhikari has accused Mamata of resorting to appeasement and corruption and claims she is now threatening a constitutional body. Adhikari has demanded action from the Election Commission over her remarks.
Sometimes they do not know where is the villager, especially the poor people, especially the hawkers, bakers, or the poor people, commoners. Where they will get the mother certificate, the father certificate? Is it NRC? Is it they are doing or working to establish the NRC? What is their intention? Please let us clarify.
Is gradually losing her ground due to her high appeasement and huge corruption. For that reason, she is now feeling fierce hypocrisy. Due to this reason, she is threatening Election Commission. Election Commission is a constitutional body. It's an autonomous body. Please take appropriate action against the statement made by a political party leader.
देखिए, चुनाव आयोग एक स्वायत्त संस्था है और उनकी तरफ से पॉलिसीज बनाई जाती है। उद्देश्य क्या होता है कि निष्पक्ष चुनाव हो, कहीं कोई कदाचार नहीं हो और कोई भी व्यक्ति अपने वोटिंग राइट से वंचित ना हो जाए। विपक्ष के साथी हमेशा फर्जी वोटों की चर्चा करते हैं, उस दिशा में अपनी चिंता व्यक्त करते हैं। चुनाव आयोग की तरफ से एक गाइडलाइन जारी की गई है।
Viewers, you're watching the Hard Facts, and let's begin with some plain speak. And plain speak is shorn of niceties, so I beg your apology in advance. India is secular not because Indira Gandhi in 1976, under the guise of emergency when the opposition was in jail, sneakily introduced the word secular into the preamble of the Constitution. India is secular, viewers, and pay attention. Because by dharma, Hindus are secular. Our faith's motto is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The world is one family. Hindus don't see the world as a contest between us and them. There's no word like infidel, kafir, in the Hindu lexicon. So unlike the Christian and Muslim nations of the world, India's constitution makers did not think it necessary to insert the word secular in it. Just look at the two documents. To the left or in the middle of your screens, viewers, is the original preamble. There is no word like secular in the preamble. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign democratic republic. That word, sovereign and socialist, viewers, and secular. Socialist and secular. look at that, viewers, was inserted during the emergency. The preamble in the Constitution that we gave to ourselves on January 26, 1950 did not have it. And therefore now the RSS is demanding that India should revert to the original preamble. The RSS General Secretary Dattatreya Hosabale has said, and I quote, "Yes, the ideas of secularism may have existed. They may have been part of governance and state policy. That's a different matter. But should these two words remain in the preamble, this is something that deserves a review," unquote. So he's not arguing, viewers, to rewrite the Constitution of India. He's only saying, let's go back to Ambedkar's vision. The Congress and its allies have all leaped to criticize the RSS along expected lines. The Congress says the RSS has never accepted the Constitution of India. This is not just a suggestion, it is part of a long-standing conspiracy to dismantle Dr. Ambedkar's vision for a just, inclusive and democratic India, something the RSS BJP has always been plotting. So viewers, the Congress statement invokes Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Now remember why I have emphasized the fact. Just keep it to the back of your heads. Rahul Gandhi, the leader of opposition, Congress leader, has come out and said the mask of RSS has come off again. Constitution irks them because it speaks of equality, secularism and justice. RSS BJP doesn't want the Constitution. They want Manusmriti. They aim to strip marginalized and poor of their rights and enslave them again. Snatching a powerful weapon like the Constitution is their real agenda. RSS should stop dreaming. We will never let them succeed. Every patriotic Indian will defend the Constitution until their last breath, unquote. Because Rahul Gandhi should ask his own great-grandfather Nehru why he didn't write the word secular into the preamble. Why did he agree with Dr. Ambedkar that it should not be written into the Constitution's preamble? He should ask, viewers, is it because Nehru was a Sanghi? Or Dr. Ambedkar was a closet Sanghi, masquerading as a Democrat, secular person? I don't know, viewers, because Rahul Gandhi won't have the answer. And viewers, when the Congress says that they are the ones who are the guardians of secularism, they are once again misleading the nation by invoking Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and his Constitution. In fact, the framer of India's Constitution argued against including the word socialist and secular in the preamble. This was discussed in the Constituent Assembly. Not 3 members said that this word secular should be and socialist should be weaved into the preamble. And Dr. Ambedkar said, quote, "What should be the policy of the state? How society should be organized in its social and economic side are matters which must be decided by the people themselves according to time and circumstances. It cannot be laid down in the Constitution itself because that is destroying democracy altogether." So while he said, viewers, that the people should decide, and maybe yes, you can introduce them, but that should be decided by the time and circumstance. Viewers, what did Indira Gandhi do? She introduced it via the 42nd Amendment, viewers, which had a large number of problems with it because it concentrated power, it amplified the power of the center. So Rahul Gandhi talks about, federalism and this, that, the other. His grandmother actually, by introducing Amendment 42, viewers, tightened the grip of the center on the levers of power in this country, made the center really dominant. And viewers, the people weren't speaking through that parliament because, as you know, there was emergency. The opposition was locked up. This was a power grab, an illegitimate power grab. She was asked by the court to actually step down from being a member of parliament, and she would have had to resign her office as prime minister, but she continued, viewers, as supreme dictator in a matter of sense. Now, viewers, the irony is that while the Congress invokes B.R. Ambedkar, it has been at the forefront of dismantling his vision by writing into law policies that desecrate the very definition of the word secular. Here are the hard facts, and I always bring you the hard facts, viewers, so you can get closer to the truth. Let's take the example of the Shah Bano case. What did the Congress do? It overturned the Supreme Court ruling to protect orthodox interpretations of the Sharia. The outcome was it created legal pluralism based on religion, an explicit rejection of constitutional secularism. B.R. Ambedkar wanted constitutional secularism. These people, viewers, the Congress party in 85, did exactly the opposite. The Hajj subsidy policy. What did the Congress do? From 1959 to 2014, Congress governments consistently expanded and defended the Hajj subsidy. What was the outcome? The Supreme Court called the subsidy a violation of constitutional secularism and struck it down in phases in 2012. The Places of Worship Special Provisions Act of 1991. The Congress legally undermined the principle of equal access to justice for all faiths and all types of people. What was the outcome? It locked out historical grievances, denying mainly Hindus the legal redress, the right to legal redress, viewers. Then there is a state control of Hindu temples. Through various state laws, enabled direct government management of only Hindu temples. Only Hindu temples. Now, viewers, in a secular democracy, in a constitutional democracy that salutes secularism, viewers, how can only one religion be singled out? The outcome was a selective interference in the internal affairs of just one religion, which violates Article 25 and 26, viewers. Then there are religion-based quotas and minority education institutions. It pushed religion-based quotas, 4.5% sub-quota for Muslims within OBCs during the UPA, viewers. The outcome is it undermines religious equality before law and uniform standards in education and employment. In fact, the Supreme Court has said that these quotas along religious lines are illegal. But no, viewers, they champion it. Prevention of Communal and Targeted Violence Bill 2011. The Congress, viewers, brought in the Communal Violence Bill. It tabled it in the House. And you know what it said, viewers? That only minorities could ever be victims. And the majority community therefore had to be a perpetrator. Because it violated Article 14 by presuming guilt based on religion, the bill had to be shelved, viewers. It was constitutionally infirm. This is the Congress's secularism. And on the Uniform Civil Code, viewers, which is a directive principle of state policy that Mr. Ambedkar said we need, Dr. Ambedkar said we need, the Congress, viewers, has abused it. It has reformed Hindu personal laws in the 1950s, refused to touch Muslim personal laws, polygamy, all sorts of other horrible inflictions on women have been allowed in the name of faith-based law. This perpetuates legal exceptionalism, contravening Article 44. And viewers, the Constitution of India, the directive principles of state policy say that we must aspire towards a UCC. That was what Dr. Ambedkar wanted, but the Congress opposes it. And therefore, viewers, these facts force me to ask some basic questions tonight, and let's open this up. These are hard facts, viewers. No one can contest them, but let's open this up. Sanjay Jha, let me begin with you first, sir. I told you I will begin with some plain speak. If you have any questions regarding the hard facts, please challenge them now. Tell me I'm wrong on any of my hard facts.
Yeah.
And,
I'll tell you.
And let me tell you, if you believe, if the ecosystem wants to preserve Ambedkar's vision, why does it oppose reverting to the original preamble? Was Dr. Ambedkar, who left out the words secular and socialist, a Sanghi? Well, he might have been actually, because he pushed for the UCC, which you oppose. If you're really interested in hard secularism, why do you oppose the UCC, sir?
Okay, Rahul, if you're done with your question, and in the interest of a fair debate, let me respond to you. You have given me the opportunity to start right away. Let me do that. Firstly, I don't think the opposition has opposed the UCC. They have said it cannot be done unilaterally. It must be done with all the stakeholders, taking into account all the sensitivities of different religious communities in this country, which is the appropriate way to go forward. But I'm a little surprised, Rahul, and I need to say this upfront, that in your entire introduction, a very passionate introduction, you forgot to mention the elephant in the room. that it's not a political party. The Supreme Court of India has itself passed a verdict on the challenge which was made by the Sanghis, by the RSS, by the BJP, by, to borrow your term, the right-wing ecosystem, which went to the Supreme Court and said, we should remove secularism, we should remove socialism, exactly what the RSS mouthed today. Let me read out to you. Hard facts, Rahul. Hard facts from the Supreme Court. It'll take me 30 seconds. The Supreme Court has upheld the inclusion of socialist and secular in the preamble of the Indian Constitution. These terms were added by the 42nd Amendment in 1976, and the court dismissed the petitions challenging them, which included people from the right-wing ecosystem. The court clarified that socialism in the Indian context means a welfare state. We know how the BJP is giving free ration and food grains to 800 million people, Ladli Behna, and probably I think Narendra Modi is more left of center than anything else between you and me. And in terms of secularism, it means the state neither favors nor disfavors any religion. And we know why Mr. Modi and the RSS and the BJP are very uptight about it, because, hello, ladies and gentlemen, we know mob lynching has now been normalized. We know that the Supreme Court was told you're creating a religious war when the Supreme Court Chief Justice had to comment on the Waqf board. I mean, we know that love jihad and ghar wapsi, etc. has been your entire reason for survival. We know what the Supreme Court said on bulldozers. It disturbs our conscience in the way houses are being raised. We know who's called for genocide. We know all that. Everybody in this country is aware. We know exactly how Colonel Sophia Qureshi, the decorated officer...
No, let's not get into rhetoric. Look, there are hundreds of things that can be said about the Congress.
Absolutely.
I mean, you stood in the front lines and massacred Sikhs, some of your leaders. So let's not go there. Let's keep this factual. You started out by talking about the Supreme Court.
Let's bring in Babri Masjid.
Hang on. You brought in the Supreme Court.
Let's bring in Manipur.
No, one second. You brought in the Supreme Court, touching faith in the Supreme Court, viewers. When the Congress thinks that it is furthering... One second.
No, this issue is closed. Why is RSS reinventing it?
Nothing is closed. Nothing is closed. No, it was not a constitutional bench. Was it a constitutional bench? Was it a constitutional bench? No. So, hang on. The Supreme Court, no, hang on. If you have such touching and abiding faith in the Supreme Court, why did you, 1 second, sir, why did you alter their Shah Bano judgment?
Because
why did you,
at that point,
let me answer. What point?
At that point, the Rajiv Gandhi government
wanted to appease Muslims.
1 minute, no. By the way, why would a party with 414 seats in the Lok Sabha want to appease 12%?
Yeah, because what happened in 1989? What happened exactly 4 years later to Rajiv Gandhi in 1989? How many seats was he left with, sir? Can you tell me?
He was 197 and the single largest party.
So where did he come from, viewers? 400 plus to 197. 50% seats gone. That's why, viewers, he was so concerned. Anyhow, you're answering my question. There's a touching faith today in the Supreme Court. Viewers, this is the same Congress party that says that the Supreme Court is today a suborned organization. It cannot stand up for itself. There's touching faith in that same Supreme Court. Viewers, just putting out the hypocrisy, nothing more.
But the matter is...
I haven't called the Supreme. When the Ayodhya judgment happened, they said, look, the judges, the spineless characters didn't even have the guts to sign their judgment. It's what they've said, not me. So they pick and choose, viewers, as I told you. If the EC makes them win 400 seats tomorrow, the EC will be the best.
Why are you talking about Bilkis Banu?
1 minute, let me open this up.
You talk Shah Banu,
of course, I actually went against that. I said that the Supreme Court should intercede.
Let's talk about Bilkis Banu.
Yes, we should. We should. So the Supreme Court threw the rule book at the Gujarat government. So they upheld it. They upheld her cause. They upheld her rights. You're happy with that, right? You're happy with that.
The rapists were released on the 75th
year. So yes, so the Supreme Court set things right. So one minute. Let me just open this up.
What a shame. Ask these
Let me open up. No, don't change the discourse. We are talking about a very fundamental thing here, viewers, about whether those words should remain in the preamble or should we go back to the Ambedkar Constitution. The Supreme Court has interrogated this issue and it has come out with its interpretation. Now, viewers, it's not law. The Supreme Court is fallible. They'll admit this matter perhaps needs to be taken up to a constitution bench. But I'm just going to open this up. I'm not going to dominate this. I put out my hard facts, viewers. None of them, by the way, were contravened by anybody. And they are all an abuse of the principle of secularism. There is not one there. There is not one there.
I nullified the entire
viewers,
debate by
viewers, let me tell you.
the matter is closed.
No, one second. No.
Why are you
matter is
discussing
not
an
closed,
RSS
sir. Then why are you going up in
officer
court?
or an
Why are
RSS
you going up in court
statement?
against the Waqf?
How does the RSS
Why are you going up in
matter?
court against
Is
the
RSS
Waqf?
a political
Excuse
party?
me, one second.
Is the RSS
I don't want to
running
get
the
into a
country?
slanging match, please.
Is the RSS
Let's
running
open
the
this up.
country?
Let's open this up.
Is
Let
the
the
RSS
others
running the
others
country?
speak. You've spoken for 7 minutes, please, sir. Let's open this up. Let's open this up. Dr. Ranganathan
Unless
is
you are
there.
making an admission that the RSS is
Haj
running
subsidy
the country.
viewers, Haj subsidy, Shah Bano, all of these things put one religion on top of everyone else. Now, Dr. Ranganathan, the Congress invokes secularism, constitutional secularism, says we love Ambedkar, we upheld his legacy. What do you make of this? And what about the argument about going back to the original preamble?
Good evening, Rahul, and good evening to my fellow panelists. You gave 7.5 minutes to the previous panelists. I just request half of that. Thank you so much. Look, every day the Congress picks up a new whip to lash itself with. I think it has taken self-flagellation to an art form. What is it today? That the RSS wants to change the constitution of Dr. Ambedkar? Well, all that the RSS leader said was that the words socialist and secular should be removed from the constitution. And these gimpish self-flagellators of Congress don't even know that these two words weren't there in Ambedkar's constitution, as he had specifically wanted them not to be there. They were inserted by Indira during the emergency. So for 30 years under Congress till 1976, when those two words weren't there in the preamble, we weren't socialist or secular. Is that their logic? So damn right, they should be removed. Not only that, Nehru's draconian First Amendment should also be removed. Now to the word secular, because that is the point of contention. Rahul, you can have a state give Haj subsidy, host iftar parties, pay monthly salaries to thousands of Maulvis, ask UGC to completely fund minority institutions that keep 50% seats reserved for minorities, overturn Supreme Court judgments to appease Muslims, leech thousands of crores preferentially from Hindu temples, control thousands of acres of temple land, spend crores of taxpayers' money for Kartarpur corridor, run madrasas, order only Hindu-run schools to give 25% reservation to the poor, and still be secular? Why is the state paying the surveyors of the Waqf board? Why is the state paying salaries to Maulvis? Why is the state giving interest-free loans to set up shops on Waqf and mosque land? Why is the state running madrasas? Why is the state giving crores to set up Christian development corporations? Should we be secular? Yes. But are we? No. Or if you believe all this is indeed secular, then bring mosques and churches also under state control and temples. Have them. Look, the fact of the matter is no one has damaged our constitution more than the Congress, and they know it. That's why they keep shouting, because of inferiority complex. Because when does constitution die? When a citizen's freedom of speech and expression is brutally stomped upon. And that is what Nehru did through his First Amendment to our constitution, following which under him dozens of books and films were banned, historians and editors were jailed. When does constitution die? When the president and the judiciary is forced to curtail the fundamental rights of the citizen. And that is what Indira Gandhi did through the emergency, following which tens of thousands of Indians were jailed and killed and sterilized, and constitution's body and preamble altered. When does constitution die, Rahul? When a Supreme Court's thorough and postal judgment is overturned with impunity, when the citizen's right to privacy is snatched away, and that is what Rajiv Gandhi did through the Postal Act and through overturning the Shah Bano judgment, ushering in an era of blatant appeasement. When does it die, the constitution? When tens of thousands of activists are arrested and charged with sedition and called anti-national, which is what the Home Minister did then under the UPA. When the Election Commission is severely compromised, which is what Sonia Gandhi did when her proxy rule. 8,000 activists were charged with sedition in a single day.
Yes.
When Naveen Chawla, despite Shah Commission charging him with committing atrocities, was appointed at the CEC, ignoring the cries of the then CEC that he was actually spying for the Congress. Finally, when does constitution die? When the FCRA Act is retrospectively amended, rendering the High Court conviction of political parties like the BJP and the Congress toothless, which is what happened under Rahul Gandhi through a parliamentary amendment brought in by the BJP and supported by the Congress. On the other hand, just 10 seconds. How has Modi and the RSS killed the constitution? Give me one example that hasn't either been ratified by the Supreme Court or the opposition itself, like the 370 abrogation or the SC/ST Act. Have them.
Well, let me ask you one other question, Dr. Ranganathan. Very impassioned, beautifully illustrated points, lots of hard facts there. You're putting me to shame, but I have to ask you this. You know, you said something. Were we as if we were not secular till 1976. Now look, viewers, I always believe in plain speak and the hard facts. I have a severe problem with this statement. We weren't secular till 1976. We are still not secular, viewers. In fact, Nehru left out these words. You know why, viewers? Because he wanted to tinker. He wanted to give selective appeasement. No. Selectively, he wanted to appease people. You see, no, one minute. Sanjay Jha, don't interrupt me, Sanjay Jha. I never interrupted you. Sanjay Jha says that, you see, the BJP twisted things. You know, viewers, who brought in the cow protection legislations?
Let me answer.
It was Congress. Who brought in, viewers, those legislations that prevented conversions? It was the Congress. They were trying to balance every side, viewers. So they decided to codify Hindu personal laws, viewers, but leave out Muslim personal laws.
Yes.
So Dr. Ranganathan, I believe that they left out these words because they didn't want to be held by them. Am I wrong?
Absolutely. No, not at all. In fact, I was being rhetorical
when
I said that the Congress is saying that those words are important to be inserted. But I want to, my good friend Sanjay said, UCC is important, but it takes time to look at the sensitivities of communities. So it's taken 80 years, right? But why is it that the Hindu Code Bill was brought within 2 years? What happened to Hindu community sensitivities then? So
they were the majority.
Sensitivity of marrying a child is important for Sanjay Jha. This is why we will remain a country that is under the throes of this fake secularism.
Very quickly, because I want to bring in Tariq Bhai, I want to bring in the BJP national spokesperson, I want to bring in Mr. Khan. So very quickly.
So Rahul, very concisely, I'll summarize where the problem is. The Constitution has always inherently, even when it did not have secularism and socialism, treated that as an embedded intrinsic part of the Constitution. What Mrs. Gandhi did was to put it down in black and white terms.
Please, let's set this aside. As if Dr. Ambedkar was some moron. As if Dr. Ambedkar was some moron. Please don't abuse his intelligence. Please don't abuse his intelligence. Indira Gandhi, who suspended viewers' democracy, is being held up as somebody who improved on Dr. Ambedkar. I mean,
I have just exposed.
Are we blind, viewers? I mean, Indira Gandhi took an axe to democracy, viewers, and she hacked it. She hacked the dreams of Dr. Ambedkar. Luckily, we didn't go the way of Pakistan, viewers, because our armed forces were disciplined.
Can I make an important point?
Yes, please. Yeah, of course.
Rahul, I think, there are two important questions which need to be very clearly answered today, and the answers will be beneficial to this extremely ignorant Congress party. Number one, why were the words secularism and socialism not included in the original preamble to our Constitution? The answer is very simple. The founding fathers of our Constitution were extremely sagacious, futuristic and visionary. They did not want these to be instruments of vacuous and ostentatious virtue signaling by any political party. Please don't
Sir, don't speak over him, sir. He never spoke over you. He's waited his turn. This is not fair, sir. Please.
This is not the way. They did not want them to be misused, for vacuous virtue signaling for any political party in future. And, Articles 25 to 28 of our Constitution implicitly provide for the principles of secularism. Article 38 to 39 implicitly provide for the principles of socialism, which emphasize on social and economic justice, so that overt and ostentatious reiteration was not required. Number two, in what were the circumstances under which, these two words were inserted? The draconian 42nd Amendment Act. My simple question to this country and to the congressmen is that, did we have any communal flare-up during that period? What was the pressing need to have it at a time when 1 lakh people were in jail, political activists were in jail, when top journalists, including Kuldeep Nair, Kushwant Singh and the likes were in jail, when 26 social and religious social and political organizations were banned? this Congress party needs to owe an apology even today for the surreptitious manner in which it inserted it.
Yes, 42nd Amendment, viewers, a plethora. 1 minute, let me open it up. Please, let's respect the time that Mr. Tariq Khan...
42nd Amendment...
1 second, let's respect the time that Mr. Tariq Khan has given to us. Gentlemen, silence, please. I want to bring in Mr. Tariq Khan. You like these questions, both of you. Let's take this debate forward. We're having an interesting debate. Mr. Tariq Khan, thank you very much. I'm terribly sorry I've come to you after precisely 23 minutes. Don't blame me. But I have to ask you this question. Sir, are you committed to hard secularism? If you are, why don't you back the UCC? Why do you want a system in this country where only the men of one community can marry 4 times, can marry underage people? Why do you want this, sir? Why don't you want the UCC?
First of all, answer me which type of UCC you want. It would be unanimous across India?
Across everybody.
Okay. What about Uttarakhand?
Of course, I understand where you're coming from.
Okay,
if you're asking me personally,
what about Uttarakhand? If you want a special provision,
sir, can you allow me to finish? You asked me a question. Can I answer your question?
Give me 5 seconds. Give me 5 seconds. I'll keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, please.
If you want a special provision only for Muslims, you can amend BNS, make it there. If you want UCC, that would be unanimous across the India.
Yeah.
Okay, we have UCC in Uttarakhand. There has been special provisions for the people who are living, for the tribes. What is this? So my simple question is this: क्या UCC unanimous है? और अगर हम भविष्य में इसको लेके आते हैं, so क्या ये unanimous होगा या नहीं होगा? Simple. अगर है तो आप लेके आइए.
ठीक है. So that's a good point. Now I'll tell you where the problem is. 1 second. I'll tell you where the 1 second, gentlemen. There's
मोदी के प्रवक्ता हैं.
You didn't allow me. You didn't allow me to bring a fact. A hard fact, viewers. Let me bring in a hard fact. Okay, both of you. One minute. तारिक खान, आपकी बात हमने मान ली. अब 2 मिनट तो सुनिए जवाब का. Please listen to my answer. You see, viewers, he's talking about certain tribals who are left out of the UCC in Uttarakhand. Now, why is that, viewers? Have you ever
because
asked
of Schedule 5, Schedule 6 of the Constitution.
Precisely. So, viewers, you have to ask yourself this question, because what we are looking for is a uniform secular code. People who don't subscribe to a religion, they subscribe to a culture, viewers. It's a bit different. They are covered under a different statute of the Constitution. So we cannot conflate issues. Yes, in an ideal world, and in the world that Dr. Ranganathan might want to live in the next 20 years, he would say that everyone, and I agree with him, at some point we need to evolve to that. That is hard secularism, viewers. So, let me tell you, we've taken a very close step to that ideal, but at least we've started moving in some states. I don't see it in West Bengal. Why don't I see it in West Bengal, Mr. Tausif Khan? Tell me, Uttarakhand has at least proceeded. What are you waiting for? You want young girls to be exploited, married off to the first person who throws some cash down, a 70-year-old person? Tell me, what is the issue? You want one man to have four wives? Explain. Is that right?
Rahul, the first topic was the demand for removal of secular and socialist from the preamble of the Constitution. Now, all this noise for removing makes really no sense, because this matter is already decided by the landmark judgment of Keshav Nanda Bharti case, where 13 judges sat on the bench. You are asking whether it was a constitution bench or not. Please go and read. What has the Supreme Court said? Supreme Court dealt in detail.
Do you know what
the Constituent Assembly?
I'm sorry, sir, you've confused. You're a lawyer. Are you a lawyer?
Why are you interrupting? Why interrupting?
Because you're confusing the two issues deliberately. You're spreading lies.
No, I'm first addressing the first issue.
Okay.
I'm addressing the first issue, and please, Anand, don't.
ठीक है, अब बोलिए sir. बोलिए. Hard fact check आने वाला है. बोलिए.
Now, Supreme Court has passed an elaborate judgment, dealt with what Constituent Assembly said, dealt with what the idea of the nation is, and how integral the term secular and socialist is to the preamble, and what is the basic structure doctrine. You see, a parliament has no power to amend the basic structure. Parliament has all the power to go and amend any amendment they want, but they cannot touch the basic structure that is void ab initio. Therefore, the RSS person who's demanding removal of these two terms is committing an act of treason against the constitution. He should be arrested. Why is he being allowed to speak so openly when the matter is already decided? India is not a Hindu Rashtra.
Viewers, Dr. Ambedkar weaved into our constitution the freedom of expression.
They will live in their own world.
One second, Tausif Khan. This is not this is not Mamata Banerjee's Bengal. Hello.
They will be taught a
Okay,
lesson.
Tausif Khan. Jail people, he says. Jail them. Throw them into prison if they express a view. No, one second. I'll come to the hard facts. Let's come to the hard facts. Let the BJP national spokesperson respond to you. Landmark judgment. Confusing issues as usual. Yes,
I have a simple point, Rahul. You know, if the Congress party in 1975 was so convinced about the need for these two words to be included, why did they bring it under an amendment which had no judicial oversight?
Yes.
If you recall, if you go to through the contents of the 42nd Amendment, that was a mini constitution in itself, and the biggest casualty. Please don't barge in between. Have the basic courtesy, Mr. Jha.
Okay.
The biggest casualty of this amendment, 42nd Amendment, was on the judiciary. The judicial oversight over the inclusion of these two words were not there. So my point is that the Congress was so convinced at that point of time, it could have done it. It could have done it in a very straightforward way.
Yeah.
Why this surreptitiousness?
You're saying why chori chupke chupke?
Rahul, let me answer his question of the Congress. I need to answer.
Yes, okay, very quickly. Why did you have to invoke the emergency under the cloak of emergency, Mr. Jha?
जवाब भी सुनिए कितना प्रश्न पूछेगा.
Why under the cloak of emergency, Mr. Jha? That's the response.
Rahul, 15 seconds.
Yeah, please. Go ahead.
सिन्हा जी, आज देश में जो सांप्रदायिक तापमान और आपने जो जहर फैलाया है, it proves that Mrs. Indira Gandhi did the right thing to put secularism in the constitution to keep you on your toes. I don't know what you would have done to this country if there had been no secularism.
So the Congress walked it all back, viewers, within days. Within 10 years. Okay, lower everyone's faces. Within 10 years, viewers, of Indira Gandhi bringing in these words to, as he says, shackle everybody and bind them and make them good people, good secular people, the Congress party walked back the Supreme Court on the Shah Bano judgment. It brought in the Waqf Amendment Bill. It brought in the Place of Worship Act. It brought in, viewers, it increased the endowments for Hajj. It brought in the concept of religious quotas. Viewers, it did everything that it was supposed to not do.
Yes.
Wow. And it even opened, for good measure, the Babri Masjid locks. Wow. Sir, आप क्या बोलते हैं? Jha साहब, you contradict yourself every time you open your mouth. That's not really fair, is it, to you? Let me bring in Dr. Ranganathan. Yes.
You see, this is what I've been saying. No, listen. Let's go by brute logic and hard facts, Rahul.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, should we have the word secular in our preamble? Yes, we should. But then who has violated it? I spent 1.5 minutes of my whatever I said, saying that Congress has violated it hook, line and sinker for 60 years.
Okay.
So they should be the one who should be punished by the Supreme Court. But ये तौफीक भाई, ये इनके कहने की हिम्मत नहीं है. Every statement and decision of Congress when it panders to appeasement and minorities has been against the Keshav Nanda Bharati or whatever that says that secularism is a fundamental and basic structure. They have violated it more than anybody else. Do I want India to be secular? Yes. But not like what it is right now.
Absolutely.
This is patently not secular.
This is selectively secular, viewers. Anyhow, I need to move on, viewers, because we are talking about serious issues tonight on the hard facts. And I need to move because we've heard the two sides. We know exactly where the line runs in this discourse. But viewers, there are certain things that even the Supreme Court needs to think about. And it needs to think through. Because there have been instances, viewers, when the Supreme Court has taken to grandstanding, playing to the galleries. It has to ask itself some serious questions. Maybe it can relook at this particular judgment that the Congress is now clutching like a straw because it is drowning in its own contradictions, viewers. Anyhow, let's move on, because there is a very important story and it's developing in our neighborhood, viewers. And it's a very, very serious issue. It's a massive omission. It's a sin of omission. And in Bangladesh, it is a sin of persecution. Viewers, the saga of sustained hate attacks against Hindus in Bangladesh continues, pushing the community to the brink of an existential crisis. You saw that lady, viewers, stretched out, wanting to stop that bulldozer. That might well be the last stand of the Hindu community in Bangladesh. The latest outrage, these are the pictures. A Hindu temple bulldozed in broad daylight. Hindus arrested, beaten, thrashed. You can see that, viewers, taken into custody. Their entire way, their entire culture, their way of life, their culture is under attack, viewers. The Modi government has strongly condemned the act. It usually, viewers, as you know, and sometimes you grudge it for being overly cautious, threw caution to the wind yesterday. And it came out and excoriated the Bangladesh government, viewers. Listen to this. This is the MEA spokesperson. Listen to this.
We understand that extremists were clamoring for demolishing the Durga temple in Khilket, Dhaka. The interim government, instead of providing security to the temple, projected the episode as illegal land use and they allowed the destruction of the temple today. This has resulted in damage to the deity before it was shifted. We are dismayed that such incidents continue to reoccur in Bangladesh. Let me underline that it is the responsibility of the interim government of Bangladesh to protect Hindus, their properties and religious institutions.
But viewers, the government has spoken, but not many are speaking along with the government in our country, and that's a problem because it emboldens radicals in Bangladesh. This episode, apart from exposing the rich vein of Hindu phobia running through Bangladesh, also focuses attention upon the condemnable Indian liberal establishment's silence. The so-called defenders of human rights, vocal on Gaza, are missing in action. Why is Dhaka not worthy of their outrage? Why does every Islamist cause trigger solidarity, but targeted violence against Hindus across the border elicits only studied indifference? Here's this entire ecosystem of liberals today is more busy defending the rights of a character who is standing for elections in New York to be mayor than the rights of these Hindus. Here are some hard facts that exposes this selectiveness, viewers. I don't make up things, and these hard facts I always tell you to bring you closer to truth, and no one can puncture them. And that's the problem, viewers. On October 29, 2023, CPIM and the CPI held protests condemning India's abstention from voting for UN ceasefire resolution favoring Palestine. November 7 to 10th, 2023, joint nationwide left protests condemning Israel and India's stance on Palestine and Gaza. They have their gaze on Gaza. They have no gaze, viewers, or eyes on Dhaka. October 26th, November 11th, November 16th of 2023, mass rallies in Kerala by IUML, left parties, Kerala CM. In fact, on November 23, even the Kerala Pradesh Congress joined in, backing Palestine, condemning Israeli action in Gaza. Have they, any of these parties, viewers, taken out a rally condemning the Dhaka administration for doing what it's doing? September 28th, October 4th, in that span of days, there were 6 mass rallies and protests condemning the killing of a terrorist, Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah. On December 16th in 2024, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra carries a tote bag reading Palestine, featuring watermelon motif, a symbol of solidarity with Palestine. Then facing backlash the next day, viewers, she got so badly trolled that on December 17th, in a deft balancing act, she slung a tote bag with a slogan expressing solidarity with Bangladeshi Hindus. Token. Priyanka Gandhi has linked Gaza deaths to genocide, but not anti-Hindu, viewers, pogrom. that is taking place in Bangladesh. In June 17th, 2025, I'm talking about just a few days ago, Ranchi, march by India bloc, seeking an end to Israeli action in Gaza and condemning NDA's stand. Viewers, it's almost as if Hindu lives don't matter to this lot. The poster personality of this schizophrenia, as I told you viewers, is Priyanka Gandhi, who only wore her concern for Bangladeshi Hindus after she was trolled for being selective. The liberal gaze, sharp and unrelenting on Israel, somehow goes blind when Hindus are under siege, prompting hard questions of Bangladesh. Israel ko sawal पूछो, Bangladesh ko kuch mat पूछो. Why, viewers? Silence on Israel, vocal on Israel, silence on Bangladesh. Why, viewers? It's a fundamental question. I want to open this up because there are several questions that need to be asked tonight. And they need to be asked with a certain urgency. And I want to bring in Tariq Khan Saab. There are some questions, Tariq Khan, fake Islamophobia narrative in India that parties like you have championed, that Muslims are in danger, Muslims khatre mein hai, this is what you constantly say, your party says, is endangering Hindus, sir, in Pakistan and Bangladesh, because it is driving people to target those Hindus there for revenge. A fictitious campaign by you people, sir, to say that you are under attack in India, you are now getting a backlash against Hindus. This is on you. And none of you are speaking up against it. There are no rallies. You name me 2 rallies that you have taken out and participated in, sir, for Bangladeshi Hindus.
I think it's more important to protect Bangladeshis Hindus, either to have rallies in India. No, the same question should be asked by the government. What are the different steps taken by the Modi government to protect Bangladeshi Hindus? I just want, there is no BJP spokesperson. I just want 5 points which Modi government has taken to protect. As you are asking this question, we are not the foreign minister. Our leader is not a foreign minister. If we would have, I would be in a better position to answer this. It's the responsibility of the foreign minister, of the Modi foreign policy to respond on this, that whether, what is the situation over there and what are the 5 steps, concrete steps, A, B, C. We have increased 5 seconds more. We have increased, trade is a tool. Trump has said many times, I have used trade to counter these things, India-Pakistan conflict. So, we have increased the trade. We have not used trade as a tool.
Sorry, sir. Fact check coming.
So it's all right. It's all right.
Fact check coming. Fact check coming. Now, you see, viewers, he said it's more important to ask the question, what have we done as a nation to protect Bangladeshi Hindus? These are his words, right? Khan Sahab, you said this? You said this? Yes. You see, now, viewers, look at the hypocrisy here. When the government of India under Modi brought in the CAA to protect the minorities in these Muslim countries, Dr. Ranganathan, sadak pe kaun aaya tha? Number 1, from, viewers, Delhi all the way up to Dhaka aag laga di thi in logon ne. And I'm including Dhaka because there even the friendly Prime Minister was upset. Modi did that, viewers, at the cost of even jeopardizing relationships. To secure whom? The minorities there. And these people took to the streets, they rioted, they threw stones. Dr. Ranganathan, there have been trade sanctions, CAA was brought in. Yes, we can quibble about the cap on it and this, that, the other. I'm talking about the principles here.
And the irony is that 5 years before Modi brought the CAA, the Congress had passed a resolution in 2015, and 3 years before that, the Communists had passed a resolution in 2012, demanding from the government that Bangladeshi minorities, obviously Hindus and Christians, cannot be Muslims, be given citizenship in India. This is resolution by Congress and the Communists, but the moment Modi brings it, all hell breaks loose. But, you know, Rahul, in all honesty, I can spend the next 1.5 minutes before Tawfiq Bhai comes in. exposing the hypocrisy of these charlatans, of course, but it's a simple thing. And, their allegiance is well known. So either I can do that, you've already done it.
We should do that because, he talked about 5 steps. I'll just quickly rattle them off because hard facts don't lie. Brought in the CA that was opposed by this lobby, viewers, in our own country. Right? They didn't want the Hindus, the Sikhs, the Jains, the Buddhists, the Jews in that part of the world to be protected. When they were facing a genocide from Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh. They had no problem saying Rohingyas ko le aao. 1. 2. Sanctions. Overland trade routes from Bangladesh have stopped. Trade has actually fallen. Exports to Bangladesh now are choked of a large amount of things, viewers. The NRC was being proposed to weed out Bangladeshis, so there would be punitive action against Bangladesh. They would come to their senses. But again, these people, viewers, said, "Hum kagaz nahi dikhayenge aur dikhane bhi nahi denge." These are their words, not mine. We raised the issue with Bangladesh. We have raised it with the government there on a bilateral basis. We've raised it also in the United Nations. We've also raised it with America. We've raised it with other foreign powers. Short of an invasion, we've done quite a bit. Dr. Ranganathan, yes.
Yeah, no, I just
But the
want to
moot
say
question is, why is this selectivity? This is the moot question and I want to get to that.
Yes, now you see the thing is, yes, they are selective. Their allegiance is clear. I don't expect anything from them. The point is, I expect something from Modi. I expect something from Dr. Bhagwat and they haven't delivered. That's the honest truth. Because the fact of the matter is CAA is an amnesty. That's not going to help the Hindus of Bangladesh who are running away from certain pogrom and rape and looting and pillaging. How many detention camps or relief camps has India made in the last 1 year across this border? 0. The truth is, Tariq Bhai is correct. We have done as a government precious little, if at all anything, to help alleviate the situation of the persecuted and the genocided, if at all there is a word, Hindus in Bangladesh. That's a fact.
So how do you, viewers, escalate the costs on a government that, according to Dr. Ranganathan, for example, is inert? The only way you can do it, viewers, is having the opposition bear down its neck.
Yes.
But here the opposition, viewers, is abdicating its response. On every other thing, they say, no, we are going to be a strong opposition. On this issue, they run away. So there's no pressure. So Dr. Ranganathan can be a lone voice. Maybe I can be a lone voice shouting and bleating on Twitter saying that, increase the cap of CA, bring these people in, etc., etc. But viewers, it's the opposition that has to do the heavy lifting. And Mr. Khan is here with us. He represents the TMC point of view. When the CA was trying to be brought in, he had a problem. But forget all of that. I just want to ask you a question, sir. So many marches against Israel. Name me one march that Mamata Banerjee has taken out against Bangladesh on this Hindu issue. One march.
Now, Rahul, you said that you have compared the situation in Bangladesh with that of Gaza. Now, Government of India's official stand is that Palestine should be a separate state. It supports that and it demands Israel to allow that to happen. That is Government of India's stand. It comes in support of Gaza. Therefore, Government of India should also take a stand when it comes to Bangladesh. What has the Government of India done? Mamata Banerjee is not the Prime Minister of India. The Prime Minister is Mr. Modi. It is his domain. No foreign minister does not report to Mamata Banerjee. Our foreign minister reports to Mr. Modi. What has the Government of India done so far as foreign policies are concerned? The Bangladesh was a friendly nation. Until few years ago, Bangladesh was a friendly nation of ours. Now it has become an enemy. Who should be blamed for it? Only and only Mr. Modi's foreign policy, which is wrong.
Viewers, the question was very simple. The question was, see, they're all taking advantage of Dr. Ranganathan's well-left policy here. So they all think now they're emboldened. But the two questions I asked of them, you see, Dr. Ranganathan is promoting a point of view which is valid, but it's impractical, viewers, at one level. You can't invade Bangladesh. You see? No one has been able to do it. The point is, no, one second. Tausif Khan was asked. Mr. Tariq Khan was asked. No, one second. If it is a national importance, no, one second. The question is not about that.
India would
no, 1 minute, 1 minute. Sir, please allow me. Please, sir, please. Don't simplify things. Don't simplify things. Don't simplify things. Don't simplify things. Don't simplify things, sir. Don't simplify things. Don't
compare Gaza and
don't even go there, please. Now, once oversimplification, viewers. You see, the point is this, viewers. If there is not going to be unity of purpose in our own country, the Bangladeshi Hindu, the Pakistani Hindu, and the Afghani Hindu will not survive. You look at Israel, viewers. Israel speaks up for Jews as one anywhere in the world where there is a problem. In the streets of New York, Netanyahu has a view on it.
Yeah.
And I have to give credit to Mr. Trump. He speaks up for every American, even a Democrat who's in trouble, in jail in Iran, for example. He'll pursue the ends of the earth to release them, even go to the extent of bombing that prison. So, viewers, that is because there's a consensus on certain issues. In India, it isn't, because we are all minding our vote bank. The TMC itself, viewers, has candidates who are Bangladeshis. 2 or 3 characters have been turned out. We know this. So what are they going to take on Bangladesh, viewers? Who's going to march? They march for, now they talk about a separate state. They talk about, you see, yes, there should be a Palestine state. But who do they support? Iran. That doesn't want a 2-nation solution. It wants a 1-national solution. It wants from river to the sea, all the Jews killed. But they have no problem supporting a genocidal state, Iran, because it suits their vote bank here, viewers. This is the hypocrisy. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Yes, Dr. Ranganathan, final points before I wrap up.
No, I was just saying, just like Bangladeshis have a right of return to West Bengal, I think all Hindus must have a right of return to India. I think that time has come. It is heartbreaking, Rahul, those images that you're showing and I'm seeing for the last couple of days, not just in Bangladesh, in Pakistan. And you see Afghanistan. How many Hindus, how many Sikhs are left? If I'm not mistaken, maybe hardly half a dozen, you can count them on the fingers. So this is an inevitable situation that Islamic countries are going to impose on the minorities. We must have a right of return. Get all the Hindus back home. Welcome them.
But here, viewers, we argue for the right of return of Rohingyas. And then these same people say India is not a safe place for Muslims, but they want all the Muslims of the world to live here. This is the hypocrisy, viewers. Whenever I asked Tariq Khan ki bhai, why didn't you even do 1 march? Chalo, ek to bhool ke hi nikal lete. They asked Modi the question. Viewers, this is the problem. I leave it at this. I'll let you all ponder this question, viewers.
A resounding response to terror. Showcased India's deadly capabilities. Now, top military minds will dissect India's strategic capabilities to seize the opportunity to become a global defense manufacturing powerhouse. CNN News 18 Town Hall. From borders to business, the strength of Bharat. June 28th, 3 p.m. onwards on CNN News 18. This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Fresh political flashpoint is brewing in Bengal. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has lashed out at the Election Commission of India, accusing it of pushing ahead with the special intensive revision of electoral rolls without consulting political parties. Mamata alleges that common Bengalis and migrant workers are being harassed under the garb of voter verification and claims the entire process is being politically driven by BJP's campaign machinery. She says the BJP and the ECI are treating state governments as subservient and warns Bengal is being unfairly targeted, even as Bihar, where the process is also being conducted, is being spared scrutiny. The BJP has hit back. Leader of opposition Suvendu Adhikari has accused Mamta of resorting to appeasement and corruption and claims she is now threatening a constitutional body. Adhikari has demanded action from the Election Commission over her remarks.
Sometimes they do not know where is the villagers, especially the poor people, especially the hawkers, bakers, or the poor people, commoners. Where they'll get the mother certificate, the father certificate? Is it NRC? Is it they are doing or working to establish the NRC? What is their intention? Please let us clarify.
She is gradually losing her ground due to her high appeasement and huge corruption. For that reason, she is now feeling fierce hypocrisy. Due to this reason, she is threatening Election Commission. Election Commission is a constitutional body. It's an autonomous body. Please take appropriate action against the statement made by a political party leader.
देखिए, चुनाव आयोग एक स्वायत्त संस्था है और उनकी तरफ से पॉलिसीज बनाई जाती है। उद्देश्य क्या होता है कि निष्पक्ष चुनाव हो, कहीं कोई कदाचार नहीं हो और कोई भी व्यक्ति अपने वोटिंग राइट से वंचित ना हो जाए। विपक्ष के साथी हमेशा फर्जी वोटों की चर्चा करते हैं, उस दिशा में अपनी चिंता व्यक्त करते हैं। चुनाव आयोग की तरफ से एक गाइडलाइन जारी की गई है जिसमें सत्यापन की बात कही गई है। होता यह है कि कोई भी नियम जब बनता है तो उसके प्रैक्टिकल क्रियान्वयन में कई बार दिक्कतें आती हैं, तो हमें लगता है कि सबको अपने सुझाव देने चाहिए और जो सबसे उचित और सबसे प्रैक्टिकल फैसला होगा वो चुनाव आयोग की तरफ से किया जाएगा।
Fresh political flashpoint is brewing in Bengal. Chief Minister Mamta Banerjee has lashed out at the Election Commission of India, accusing it of pushing ahead with the special intensive revision of electoral rolls without consulting political parties. Mamta alleges that common Bengalis and migrant workers are being harassed under the garb of voter verification and claims the entire process is being politically driven by BJP's campaign machinery. She says the BJP and the ECI are treating state governments as subservient and warns Bengal is being unfairly targeted, even as Bihar, where the process is also being conducted, is being spared scrutiny. The BJP has hit back. Leader of opposition Suvendu Adhikari has accused Mamta of resorting to appeasement and corruption and claims she is now threatening a constitutional body. Adhikari has demanded action from the Election Commission over her remarks.
Sometimes they do not know where is the villagers, especially the poor people, especially the hawkers, bakers, or the poor people, commoners. Where they'll get the mother certificate, the father certificate? Is it NRC? Is it they are doing or working to establish the NRC? What is their intention? Please let us clarify.
She is gradually losing her ground due to her high appeasement and huge corruption. For that reason, she is now feeling fierce hypocrisy. Due to this reason, she is threatening Election Commission. Election Commission is a constitutional body. It's an autonomous body. Please take appropriate action against the statement made by a political party leader.
देखिए, चुनाव आयोग एक स्वायत्त संस्था है और उनकी तरफ से पॉलिसीज बनाई जाती है। उद्देश्य क्या होता है कि निष्पक्ष चुनाव हो, कहीं कोई कदाचार नहीं हो और कोई भी।
Hello and welcome to Vantage. I'm Alison Lagrange coming to you live from Durban, South Africa. Let's get started. Donald Trump is shifting focus back to trade. The US president has announced a truce with China. He says China will resume rare earth exports. Trump's Commerce Secretary claims 10 new deals are in the pipeline. One of them involves India. But New Delhi isn't rushing to sign. Trump's ceasefire in West Asia seems to be holding. Just a week after bombing Iran, Trump is now taking investment. What is Trump trying to do with Iran? We'll explain what's driving this shift. We'll also talk about Trump's new obsession and why his former first buddy, Elon Musk, is struggling. Tesla is losing ground and facing a challenge from Chinese tech giant Xiaomi. Meanwhile, in Europe, Denmark is going to war against deep fakes. It wants to give people copyright over their own voice and image.